Hello and welcome to Coffee Talk. Today's stimulating conversation is going to be composting toilets, tips, tricks, and solving problems.
So grab a cup and join us. And our starting topic is smells.
Smelly toilets.
Yeah, it shouldn't smell.
No, if you have a smelly toilet, it means that something's not working properly. So it's time to go into investigation mode.
Yes, if your urine tank smells, first off, you probably shouldn't be eating any more asparagus. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Second, you can try spritzing a little bit of vinegar water solution after you go. That helps move the urine down into the tank. Another solution that we've tried is 2 tablespoons of raw sugar into the urine tank to help sweeten the smell. I guess it has something to do with the acidity. Sweeten the smell. And another thing we've heard of is putting a cup of vinegar into your tank, to your urine tank, after you clean it. That way it kind of freshens the tank every time. Leave it in there, and something about the acidity as well there. The final solution, if you have urine kind of caking onto the walls, then this is a really good trick. You take rocks, you put them inside the urine tank. Oh, well, dump the urine first. You take rocks, when you clean it, take rocks, put it inside the urine tank, put 3 inches of vinegar in, shake it up, shake it all around. You might need to let it set for 20 minutes, agitate it some more, let it set for another 20 minutes, agitate it some more, and that'll clear off all the caked on, dried up urine that's stuck to the walls. And that is the biggest case of smell from the toilet.
But the whole trick is using that cup of vinegar into the tank immediately every time after you've dumped it will prevent that buildup from ever even happening.
Yeah. And give it a nice rinse. After you dump it, spray it with a little bit of water, rinse it out, dump it again, and then add your vinegar.
Yep. Now, if your solids is starting to smell like when you open that trap door, it usually is a fan problem. Make sure that your fan is actually running. Every once in a while after driving down the road, that can jiggle loose. You may just need to kind of give it a little snug push back in there. Other than that, it could be a moisture issue. Maybe it's time to dump. Maybe you're making your coconut coir or your sphagnum peat moss a little too moist when putting it in there. Maybe that's not enough moisture, maybe it's too dry. So play around with your levels a little bit, and you can kind of tell by looking if it's too moist or not moist enough.
It shouldn't smell. That's the general answer.
Big key is it shouldn't smell. You shouldn't have any odors.
Another issue you might come across is bugs. We haven't had any personal experience with bugs, but the answer is DE. It's called diatomaceous earth, I believe. You can find it at most pool stores, and you put a couple scoops of that into your compost bin, mix it up. After you dump that compost, you start a fresh one, you put 2 more cups of DE in, and it'll get rid of all of your bugs, all of your gnats, flies, whatever you might be having an issue with. DE is definitely the solution.
Yeah, and another big thing to think about is, why do you have bugs? So maybe you've got something that's rotting in a corner, maybe you've got some fruit that's gone bad. There's always somewhere that those bugs come from. The other thing is, check your filter on the outside where your vent is. If that little screen has fallen off or somehow gotten a hole in it, that might be how those bugs are getting in. So usually if you fix that, you won't have any more bugs, but definitely you don't want bugs.
No. And if you're wondering if you need to wash the base after dumping, you do not. Actually, having a little bit of those little leftovers hanging on actually helps promote composting in your new batch. So don't worry about getting out a hose or getting out some sort of antiseptic wipe. It's not necessary to completely perfectly clean the composting bin every time you dump it.
No, absolutely. And that's what also makes it so easy and so convenient, is the fact that you don't have to necessarily clean everything out every time. It's just a quick dump, tap on your little dance that you like to do, like it's a drum, and that's it. Then you just refill and you're ready to go again. And our next topic is hydrating your coconut coir or your peat moss. The manufacturer recommends 2-gallon Ziploc bags, breaking off your dehydrated coconut coir or peat moss, sticking it inside the bag, pouring in your water, sealing it back up, and coming back to it the next morning. For me, I don't like that waiting period. I don't like to have to think about it that far in advance. So I actually use a bucket, break off my coconut coir, stick it down in there. I usually use about 1.5 liters to 2 liters of water, dump it in there, and then just slowly mix it around until it's properly hydrated, and then right into the toilet it goes. Takes me about 10-15 minutes max, and I'm ready to prep my toilet. So I don't like that whole waiting overnight thing.
Yeah.
I'm impatient.
And we like to buy our cocoa core in a brick about this size. It's pretty thin and it stores in our bay underneath our RV, no problem. We don't feel like it's worth the investment to buy small bricks because it's a lot more expensive that way. So we buy one large one, and we don't buy sphagnum peat moss because it's not as sustainable and eco-friendly, and also it usually comes in a ginormous bag. So we don't want to carry that, especially in the RV with limited space.
Exactly. And whenever you get ready to pick up your coconut core, you can either order it online, look for coconut fiber or
Coconut core.
coconut core. You can also find it at a lot of hydroponic stores. It's pretty readily available.
And our next topic is, where can I legally dump? It's kind of a gray area. You can dump lots of places, but to be perfectly safe, and if you don't want to get in trouble and you're out somewhere where you don't know the rules or the restrictions, you can always dump your urine inside of your gray tank, through your shower drain. You can take it into town and drop it into a toilet or a urinal. You can also, well, I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's pretty much your options. It's because it's all based off of local county regulation. So one BLM or one national forest area may be fine with you sprinkling the urine. The next place, they may say it's not okay to do that. So you really have to either double check ahead of time, or to be on the safe side, gray tank, or take it into town, flush it down a toilet, or find yourself a sewer drain.
Yeah, and same goes for the composting.
Yeah. You can find a lot of campgrounds will actually have composting piles. You can take your composting bag with your compost, toss it right into their pile. Always ask them ahead of time, of course. Other than that, lawn and leaf containers, trash dumpsters, any of that is all safe, legal. It's not a biohazard, it's non-toxic. So that's the key. So that's what makes it safe to dispose of as you would any other trash.
Yeah. If you're wondering if there's any maintenance on the toilet, there's really zero maintenance. Other than a tiny little filter that is there on the fan, on the intake for where the fan sucks in air. Just make sure it's not clogged. I check it every few months or so. Other than that,
nope, no maintenance. As long as you're not having any issues, you've got no odors, then you have no problems. There's nothing than your normal prepping and dumping.
Yeah, what's great about it. It's just a basic toilet. There's no moving. There's hardly any moving parts. Other than the tiny little agitator, there's nothing that's really going to go wrong with it.
So the next thing would be, do I need any extras? Do you need any spare parts? No, not really. If you're going for extended periods of time, if you're dry camping out in the wild and say you're going to be somewhere where it's not safe or legal to sprinkle the urine and you're going to need to take it into town, you might want to consider purchasing an extra liquids tank. That will get you by a little bit longer before you have to bother going into town.
Yeah, and especially if you probably have a sailboat, you might want an extra one in case you accidentally lose it overboard sometime in some crazy swell, or maybe you're out at a BLM sprinkling it and you drop it down the Grand Canyon or something.
Why you would ever do that, I have no idea.
But I'd say it'd be nice to have an extra one, and you want to get a spare cap as well in case you lose the cap or misplace the cap. That way you can cover it up and take it into town. Another thing that you might want to get, if you are out in the middle of nowhere for quite a while and you want to compost even further, then you can buy a second base. And it comes with a lid, and you can continue to compost for 2 or 3 weeks until you're ready to dump the next one. It's just another option for continual composting. Also, if you're way out in the middle of nowhere, you might want to buy an extra fan, because it's the only real moving part, the only electric part inside the toilet, and if that goes out, that'll create a world of problems. So if you're going to be off the grid for a long time, having an extra fan, it's only a few bucks, is totally worth the investment.
So that's it. That's all the tips and tricks we have for you today. If you've got any further questions or having any other problems, post it in the comment section below, and we'll follow up with another session of stimulating conversation.
Stimulating.
Till next time,
Enjoy the go.